Welcome back to the Racegoers Guide for Cheltenham Hawthorn 2019. The Blackmore and Sparkford Vale point-to-point, always eagerly anticipated, and the man sat with me here in the Manor House Inn. Brian Carver is certainly looking forward to it as well. And one race we're all looking forward to is the newly formed Mixed Open, something we've never had here at Cheltenham Hawthorn. But we've got a new course, we've got a new race, and we've got good prize money as well, £500 to the winners. So certainly worth partaking, and it's attracted a very good field indeed. It is a qualifier for the Timico Mixed Open final at Cheltenham. Coming up in May as well. So plenty at stake, I think, when it comes to our Mixed Open on Sunday afternoon. Brian, we've just been almost salivating over this field. It's a fantastic one. I think it's fair to say it's hotter than that radiator behind us. Initially, looking at it, what would jump off the page for you?
That's a tough question because, well, whatever you look through there, it's a very strong open. One that stands out for me will be Minella 50. You love the ground, a little bit softer. And another one will be Herbert Park, he seems to run his races best when he's fresh. He won a 100 chase last year. Obviously, coming back off of a bit of layoff, he'd most likely be fresh. I'd imagine he should light the ground, and he'd be one that could go well. But once again, Verac, who's in number 18, I think whatever he goes in there, he'll have a right shout.
And just quickly going back to Herbert Park, Ray Alford, you were down at David Pipes for a little while. He's local to there. Did you ever ride this horse?
I did when he was at David's, because he was at Pipes for a little while. And then I think, as far as I know, Ray bought him out of there, did a bit of hunting on him, sweetened him up a little bit. Last year, actually, Rex Dingle, who's now conditional, rode him. And as far as I know, he won his Point and he's hunter chasing him.
It is most definitely a very good race. Just a couple to mention there from Brian. I thought Fly West is certainly a horse to consider as well. He's always been a horse of decent amount of talent. He's obviously had a few issues as well along the way, I believe. Carrickmore, we were talking about him there a few moments ago. He won on this card 12 months ago. Great training performance from Chris Barber to get him to win. It would seem as if he's been moved on now to another stable, but Martin McIntyre is jocked up.
Yeah, it looks like that, but well, last year he ran well fresh, and I'd imagine he'd probably hopefully go there again fresh again, and if he turns up in the day, I'd imagine he'd run a very good race.
He certainly would. It's a great renewal of the race. It'll be fascinating to see how many stand their ground. I reckon we'll get a double figure field, won't we?
Well, looking through the entries, with 19 entered, and with, well, there's an awful lot to be feared in it, and I'd imagine a lot of the trainers won't be fearing much others, and they'd be taking their chances.
Indeed, 123 entries on Sunday afternoon, so plenty of horses to sort of work our way through as far as form's concerned. You don't have a ride in this race, Brian, but if you had to choose one, if you could ride any of these on entry, what would you like to ride?
God, that's a tough question. I'd nearly have to go for Minella 50, as I've ridden him before, and he's a very lovely horse to ride, and I'd imagine he'll run a very big race in this ground.
Absolutely, it is a wonderful race for sure. I see Sarah Rippon's got one entered as well. She's got past the hat, who was a fourth place getter last time. The majority of the field have either won second or third in their last race, and only one or two of them actually haven't completed. So I think it goes some way to show the strength and depth as far as the Mixed Open is concerned on Sunday afternoon. But really good race, certainly looking forward to it, and certainly made the best horse win, I think, given the quality of entry that we've got for that race. Race 5 is our penultimate race on the card. It's a conditions race, and this race, for those unfamiliar with the conditions, for riders who at starting the current point-to-point season had not ridden more than 15 winners under the recognised rules of racing. So it gives an opportunity for a lesser experienced jockey. We were talking beforehand, Ryan, obviously your season going very well, and long may it continue. How many winners have you ridden? Just to give us a bit more background on yourself.
Well, thankfully I just get into this race by one winner. At the start of the season I'd ridden 14. So far this season now I've ridden 8 point winners and 1 under rules. And well, I'm very thankful, as last year, well, I kind of started out a little bit quiet, and I did a season with Will Biddick point-to-pointing, and well, as everybody knows, Will is fairly high up there in the...
He's ridden a few winners, yeah.
Yeah, just a few, just his 400 last week. But no, he was very good to me, and he got me going pointing, and thankfully it's going if he keeps going the way it is now, I'll be quite happy.
Absolutely, things are going very well. Okay, let's start with your ride in this race then. Navan Man for the herds. He looks to have some pretty good form behind him, and he hasn't finished out the first 2 in his last 5 runs.
Yeah, no, Navan Man is he's been quite good to me so far this season now. He's, to be honest, I don't actually think he's got the ground that's going to suit him best yet this season, and I'd imagine this weekend he'll probably get lovely ground, going to suit him. I'd imagine he should light the track, everything will be in his favour, and I'd be hoping he'll run a very big race and hopefully add another one to the tally.
Absolutely, he's a horse who's been in tremendous form, and the herd certainly know what they're doing as well. They've got a pretty good handle, I think, when it comes to pointing. Obviously qualified there with the Eggersford, so Brian pretty keen on his chance in that race. Of some of the others, Apple's Queen up at the top, trained by Sally Allner. Obviously that name is synonymous when it comes to points. Young Liam Harrison, I think, will take the ride on that one should he run. Obviously, of some of your fellow competitors, Liam Harrison, I imagine you've been keeping a keen eye on him. He seems to go pretty well, Brian.
Yeah, no, I have. Me and Liam, well, he started out the season very well. I think he's on 4 winners now at the minute, and he's actually leading the novice championship. He's one of the novice riders in that race that will be to be feared. He's riding Apple's Queen. I actually finished second on him his first run of this season, but with Sally Allner, obviously, as everybody knows, a very good trainer, and if he turns up on the day, I'd imagine he'd be one to be feared.
Absolutely. Moscow Price is also entered in the race, a recent winner. His participation remains to be seen. Gin Gilly was a horse who I thought ran sort of in snatches at Badbury Rings, and I think potentially with the run of the race to suit him, he could run well. Interesting horse that used to be racing under rules for Anthony Honeyball, Chill Factor, I thought could be an interesting runner. Anthony actually still owns the horse and trains the horse. You've ridden a bit for Anthony.
Well, I've ridden for Anthony's sister, Teresa Clark.
Of course.
Thankfully, she's been very good to me. Gave me my second winner over here. But no, Chill Factor has, well, his first run of the season was at Chipley Park, where he didn't really show too much interest in getting involved. But his last run down at Greater Chew was a big step up to finish third. And, well, if he takes another step up again, he could run a very big race. But one I'd be actually taking a good look at would be Coco Live. You know, as far as I know, he's changed stables this year, and he's won all 3, so he'd be an interesting one.
Certainly would be. A horse in tremendous form there, Coco Live. Matt Fielding, who works for Seamus Mullins, very good amateur indeed, I think, going forward, Matt. So certainly a competitive conditions race there, the penultimate. Navan Man, I mean, you're probably not a man that focuses too much on what price they are or what odds they are, but I imagine he's going to be somewhere towards the forefront of the market. So that must fill you with a bit of confidence if you know you're riding a well-fancied one.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, going there on Sunday, I'd imagine with Navan Man, no matter where you take him, like ground, track, I know it makes such a difference, but with him, with his form so far this season, never been at the first 2, you'd imagine he'd run a very big race, and I'd imagine he wouldn't be far away at the end, and his odds would be quite short.
Indeed they will be. Probably not a working man's price, but those dreadful point-to-point bookmakers never give too much away anyway. But Navan Man, a solid chance for some very good form. Final race, Brian, on the card is a restricted race, racing here for the Ladies Perpetual Challenge Cup. Hopefully the weather has stayed nice for us until this point. That's due off at 3:35 prior to potential divisions. You've got one in the restricted as well. You're going to be a busy boy on Sunday. 4 rides, you were telling me. Potential for more, do you think, or is it just going to be the 4?
Well, I've got nothing in the mixed open, so if there was something to pop up about in that, I'd be more than happy to ride it. But no, at the minute it's just a 4. But I've got Trodway Mellon in the last, who ran a very good race first time out this season, Chipley Park, to finish 4th in a very hot restricted. I'd imagine he should hopefully run a very good race. But then there'd be 2 I'd be taking a quite good look at. Would be Caden Michael, who actually went on to win down at Greater Chew. Looks a very good horse. Ran first time out at Chipley Park as well. Ran a very good race. And another one would be Tough Nano for Teresa Clark, who's come over from Ireland. As far as I know, she's only ever ran once and won. So Will Biddick jocked up. Should be one to have a good look at.
Yeah, nice mare. Yeah, she was well bought, I think, out of Ascot Sales. She's not got much of a pedigree. She's by primary. You don't get too many point-to-point winners, but she managed to win on debut, which was obviously very pleasing. Will Biddick, you spent a bit of time with him. I see he's got what's called Raging Fire in the race, owned by famous connections, I think, when it comes to Charlton Hawthorn. A certain Felton name goes down next to that one, as well as Dufficy. So he's a nice horse. I think he won at Chipley Park, didn't he?
He did indeed, and he won very, very impressively as well.
So we look forward to seeing him in action. The restricted to finish. Chances in the last? I mean, it looks a competitive heat for you.
It does look a very competitive heat, but to be honest, my lad always seems to run a good race, and last time out down at Buckfastleigh when he finished 6th, he would have had his excuses. So I'd be going there and I'd be open for a very good run.
Excellent stuff. So the 4 rides for Brian. We finished with the restricted race there over the 3 miles, all bar the open maiden to start over 3 miles at Charlton Hawthorn. In conclusion, Brian, best chance for you, do you think, on the card? If we had to give the viewers one to perhaps put the mortgage on, which would it be?
Best chance on the card, I'd be going for Navan Man, but imagine another horse that would be going very close, no matter what he runs in, would be Verac, but I'd imagine the 2 of them would be quite sharp prices. To find one to run a good race at a price, we may possibly have to go back.
Gone right back to the beginning here.
Yeah, we have gone, but Earth Leader in the first, actually, for Rose Luxton. I do quite like him, and when he stepped back to 2.5 mile, I think he could run a very good race.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Earth Leader in the first, potentially at value for Brian Carver, but he's got some nice rides headed by Navan Man on the card on Sunday afternoon. But Virac certainly one with a glowing mention as well, and we know how good he is from his rules form. So expect him to run a bold race, and I think Rose Loxton will hopefully have a very good Sunday afternoon with her point-to-pointers at Charlton Hawthorn. How do you prepare for a point-to-point meeting Sunday? You at work, or do you have a day off, or how will it start, and hopefully how will it finish?
Well, this Sunday I'm working, so I'll be in the yard for 8. I'll hopefully be out of there for 10, straight to the point-to-point course, have a quick walk around, come back in, get dressed, get changed, ready to go. Well, hopefully ride the 4, with hopefully a winner or 2, maybe a bit more if I can.
The 4 winners?
Well, yeah, but we don't want to be too greedy, but take the 4 if I can. And then afterwards, I'm not too sure what they normally do. I think they go back to... I'm not too sure it's a local pub that they normally go back to after Charlton Hawthorn.
I think there's somewhere they frequent for a few lemonades, indeed. Brian, great to speak to you. Thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us, and you've given the viewers a great insight as well, and I dare say you're going to have a big following on Sunday afternoon following this, so many thanks.
I hope so. Thank you.
Well, great to chat with Brian then. That's the Racegoers Guide to Charlton Hawthorn for this year. I do hope you found it informative, and hopefully we've pointed you in the direction of a few winners along the way. 12:30 is our start time for 6 scheduled races, that is. We might get 1 or 2 more, plus 2 pony races, so do try and stay along for the pony races as well if you can. Stars of the future, and certainly some stars that have ridden winners there previously, the likes of Philip Prince, Harry Derham, Megan Nichols, to name but 3, have all been successful on that track. It's a new format this year, slightly new track, but the racing's still as good as ever at Charlton Hawthorn this Sunday afternoon. Many thanks for watching, and we hope to see you there on Sunday.